Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're immersing ourselves in a source that is a genuine rarity for us.
Yeah, it really is. It's not our usual stack of white papers, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
at all. Our source material is titled The Deepening Blue of Mira's Rest. And it's this almost lyrical, deeply detailed narrative. It's an account of one person's specific, very intentional nighttime ritual.
And her guided visualization process. It's really a profound case study.
Right. Not just of sleep habits, but of, I guess, cognitive surrender.
That's a key distinction. I mean, we're treating this narrative not as just a pleasant story, but, as a meticulously constructed blueprint for relaxation.
A blueprint. I like that.
Our mission today is explicitly functional. We want to extract the architectural principles from this beautiful description. We want to understand step by step how Mira deliberately constructs an environment, physical, sensory, and mental stall that removes the need for effort.
The effort in falling asleep.
Exactly. The effort is the enemy. This is an exercise in engineering the path of least resistance into, truly restorative rest.
And the way it's framed right from the beginning, that's our central hook, isn't it? It immediately shifts the goal away from that anxious idea of forcing sleep.
Mhm.
It frames it as a smooth, gentle transition. The source describes it as moving from the hard boundaries of the waking world into a soft, drifting space where stories and dreams blend together.
It's an act of gentle, calculated migration. And that effortless migration, that's the whole goal.
I think anyone who struggles with that buzzing brain at night can relate.
Oh, absolutely. If you find your brain running a checklist the moment your head hits the pillow,
Yeah.
this process offers a very precise roadmap across that border.
So we're going to be analyzing how she systematically uses these layered sensory inputs and these potent, non-threatening metaphors to bridge that gap.
The gap between high alertness and total repose.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this architecture of calm. We're going to follow Mira's chronological descent into rest, analyzing each stage.
Right. We'll start with the physical preparation, creating what we're calling the outer quiet.
Then we'll move through the mental gateway, where the visualization really takes over.
And finally, we'll explore the complete final integration and release into sleep. So let's start at the beginning. Let's move to the shoreline.
We begin with section 2, the physical ritual, which we're calling preparing the shoreline. It all starts with where Mira lives, a small house on the edge of town. And the environmental setup itself, the outer quiet, is really the first operational step.
And this section, it just reveals the profound power of precise sensory management. Mira is optimizing her environment for maximum passive comfort.
Passive comfort, so not active, not something she has to maintain.
Exactly. What's critical here is that this isn't about eliminating all stimuli, which, often requires a lot of effort in itself.
Right.
It's about modulating the stimuli, getting them to an ideal non-demanding frequency. And the source is so specific about this.
It really is. It gives us 3 core conditions, and they're all defined by this language of minimal necessary change. The air is just cool enough to invite blankets and warm socks. The sky is just clear enough to promise 1,000 stars. And the wind is just soft enough to carry distant cricket songs without ever becoming more than a murmur.
That repetition of just enough, that is the functional takeaway here. Physiologically, think about it. If the temperature is too warm, your body has to expend energy to cool down.
And if it's too cold, you tense up, you shiver, your nervous system kicks in.
Precisely. Air that is just cool enough allows for a slight passive cooling of your core. That downregulates the sympathetic nervous system and signals to the body that, hey, you don't need to work on thermoregulation right now.
So it's engineered neutrality.
It is. It's for effortless physical homeostasis.
So the goal isn't just to be warm or cold, but to find that very specific thermal sweet spot where the body's energy use just plummets, right? Freeing up that resource for rest.
Exactly. And the same principle applies to what she sees and hears. The stars are just clear enough, so enough visual detail to engage a moment of peaceful observation, but not so sharp or intense that they trigger analysis.
Or distraction.
Or distraction. And the wind is a murmur. It's an auditory anchor, that subtle sound of the natural world, without ever crossing the threshold into an actual noise event that makes your mind go, what was that?
That's a great distinction. The auditory anchor versus the noise event. That's crucial for anyone whose sleep is often, disturbed by random sounds. It's about creating a continuous, predictable background.
Yeah.
But then we have this specific detail about the window, which seems a little counterintuitive at first. She closes the windows most of the way, but leaves them open just enough for the fresh night air to slip in.
This detail is excellent because
Yeah.
it manages this paradox of security and vitality. I mean, closing the window completely, that establishes a hard, impermeable boundary, right?
Sure, but it can also make the room feel stuffy.
Exactly. By leaving it open just enough, Mira maintains the security of her inner sanctuary while guaranteeing a continuous flow of fresh, cool air.
And that fresh air, I mean, that's ensuring continuous oxygen supply, which helps keep your breathing smooth and even. But it also maintains that subtle link to the outside world's rhythm.
The murmur of the crickets,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
And that subtle airflow, that continuous, gentle exchange between inside and outside. It ties directly into this sense of life and non-stagnation that becomes so central later in her visualization.
So she's intentionally smoothing out the hard boundaries.
She is. She's blurring the lines between her inner sanctuary and the restful rhythm of the world outside. She's setting the cognitive stage for her body to recognize that it's safe. It's safe to relinquish control. The world is breathing, and so she can too.
Okay, so once the environment is set to this state of passive comfort, Mira moves to the anchoring activities. We've dubbed this the gentle flame.
Right.
These are the deliberate, physical, low-effort actions that signal to the mind and body that the high-speed processing of the day is officially over.
And the ritualization of this part is so vital. It's a series of repeatable, gentle actions that her nervous system will come to associate exclusively with rest. The light source is the first big pivot away from the harsh light of the day.
Blue light, white light from screens and bulbs.
Exactly. She lights a small candle.
And the description of this candle is so deliberate. It flickered with a steady, calming light, painting the room in swaying patterns of golden shadow, which made the walls seem to breathe quietly.
Let's zero in on that dynamic light. This is a functional replacement for static illumination. Static light, like from a lamp, is a single, unwavering stimulus that the brain pretty quickly learns to just ignore.
Or analyze.
Or analyze. A flame, though, it provides a soft, kinetic pattern. The eye is occupied, but the pattern is slow, gentle, and highly predictable. This low-level, steady visual rhythm, it acts like a pacifier for the visual cortex.
It's almost a form of visual hypnosis, isn't it? It gives the eyes just enough to track to prevent the mind from rushing into high-stakes analytical thought.
But the stimulation is so low frequency.
Yeah, that it encourages the production of alpha brainwaves, which are, associated with relaxed meditative states.
Exactly. The candlelight is this temporary, gentle anchor that prevents that cognitive vacuum that can happen when you turn off the lights entirely and your mind just rushes in to fill the space with noise.
And the metaphor of the walls breathing quietly. That's the visual analog to the deep, slow respiration she wants to achieve. It's priming her subconscious.
It is priming her to associate this specific environment with biological calm.
And while she's engaging her visual cortex with this light, she's also engaging her other senses. She brews a cup of mild, fragrant tea. The steam curls up like soft clouds.
She takes the time to sit and drink it, gazing out. That combination warmth, a mild scent, the slow act of sipping, it's a deliberate stopping of all urgency.
It's a powerful, multi-sensory anchor for the present moment. Think about that sensory sequence. The fragrance of the tea, that's olfactory input signaling comfort. The warmth in her hands, tactile and thermal comfort. The sight of the steam, another gentle visual focus.
All of these gentle, immediate sensations root her firmly in the now. I mean, when you are fully focused on the mindful consumption of a warm drink, it is exceptionally difficult to also be planning your future or reviewing your past.
It's a physiological act that actively slows the release of cortisol.
You feel it. The act of waiting for the tea to cool, the slow ritual of the sip, the steady visual of the candle, it's designed to force the entire system into a state of deceleration.
It's forcing metabolic compliance.
Yes. And drinking the warm beverage has the added benefit of slightly increasing her core temperature at first, which then triggers the body's natural cooling mechanisms, reinforcing that just cool enough environment we talked about.
And promoting the whole process of getting sleepy.
Right.
So all this careful environmental control brings us to the final element of the physical ritual, observing the transition itself. The source calls it the deepening blue.
And this is where physical observation becomes cognitive reframing. Mira watches the last strands of sunlight fade, leaving a deepening blue that she perceives as feeling not empty, but full.
That distinction is a fundamental psychological shift. It's worth paying attention to.
I found that description so potent. I mean, we are culturally conditioned to see darkness or nightfall as an absence, right? A void, sometimes even a threat.
The time when we need to be alert.
Exactly. But here, the night is reframed as a presence. a vast velvet blanket being carefully unrolled and tucked over the fields and trees and rooftops.
That is a total transformation of the night. It goes from a time of vulnerability into a time of being protected, contained, supported. For an anxious mind, that reframing is essential.
You are not entering a dark, potentially threatening space. You are witnessing the world sighing in satisfaction, getting ready to rest right alongside you. It's like pure validation for relaxation.
Confirming that this state of repose is natural, it's shared by the whole ecosystem.
And the sound shift confirms this validation. The source notes how the high-energy, high-frequency sounds of the day, the birds' bright chirps, they diminish,
They transition to delicate little notes.
before being replaced entirely by the continuous, low-frequency soundscape, the gentle buzzing of crickets and the soft rustle of leaves.
This is Mira's auditory map of the transition to safety. High-frequency sounds are stimulating, often associated with alarm or activity.
But low-frequency, continuous, non-threatening sounds, that continuous hum of the natural world, they provide a superior form of white noise. It creates this gentle auditory backdrop that confirms the world is settled and operating within a safe, predictable rhythm,
The collective sound makes the world sound like it is sighing in satisfaction.
normalizing the state of repose.
So this physical ritual, it really serves three purposes. One, achieving effortless homeostasis through temperature modulation.
2, rooting the senses in the present moment through ritual.
And 3, cognitively reframing the environment as safe and supportive using natural observation.
Exactly. It's a three-pronged approach to eliminating her cognitive debt before she even closes her eyes.
Okay, so the physical world is prepared, the outdoor soundscape has softened. Now Mira moves into section 3, the mental gateway.
This is the process of actively disengaging from the day, using the power of visualization. And it starts with what the source calls the internal invitation.
This internal invitation is the crucial mental signal that the prep phase is over. It happens when her tea is almost finished, creating a kind of hard stop to the ritual.
And it's the conscious decision to let go of everything that had happened during the day, every conversation, every thought, every little worry.
It's the moment of cognitive disarmament. She acknowledges the day's events, but she consciously decides not to carry them across the border into sleep.
Right. She takes that last sip, sets the cup aside, and draws the curtains halfway. And that maintained that symbolic, partial connection to the restful outside world.
That decision to consciously not carry the load is an active mental separation.
It is. It requires acknowledging the thought, the worry, the to-do list, and then labeling it as for tomorrow. She doesn't fight it, she postpones it. And for anyone listening, that's a subtle but really powerful technique for managing those intrusive pre-sleep thoughts.
And then comes the ultimate physical cue, settling into bed. She slides under her favorite quilt, which is patched with shades of blue, green, and soft gray.
And the sensory experience of the bedding is described with such precise detail. The mattress welcoming her weight, the pillow cradling her head, and the quilt settling over her like a gentle hand.
The language here is all about acceptance, support, and tactile comfort. The bed isn't just a piece of furniture anymore.
No, it's characterized as an active participant in her relaxation. It's a physical embrace. The quilt isn't just insulation, it's a gentle hand resting reassuringly on her shoulders.
The goal is total physical surrender. Zero muscular effort needed to maintain comfort, just trusting the environment to hold her up completely.
And this stillness allows her breathing to fall into a slow, steady rhythm, matching the nearly silent movement of the curtains as they rose and fell with the night breeze.
So the intentional environment she created is now providing a gentle, predictable external rhythm for her own internal biological functions to sync up with.
Physical synchronization is complete. Now she closes her eyes and the mind starts its journey. This is the definition of the visualization boundary, what the source calls beyond waking and dreaming.
She's not trying to impose sleep, which we all know is often counterproductive and just creates anxiety.
Right. She is consciously charting a course toward a place somewhere just beyond the border between waking and dreaming.
And the functional shift here is crucial. She's releasing the physical world partially so the mind can begin its own independent, non-urgent journey.
And the primary vehicle for this mental journey is the river metaphor. She feels herself drifting gently toward it, as though floating on a quiet river that carried no rush or urgency.
This metaphor is so powerful because it introduces effortless forward momentum.
Yes, the body is still, but the mind is moving slowly, comfortably, and without effort. It's not about paddling or steering. The pull is so mild that she could barely notice it, but it's steady enough that she knows she will eventually arrive.
And that phrase, eventually arriving, that is the key functional takeaway for you, for the listener. It addresses that inherent performance anxiety we feel when we're trying to fall asleep.
Absolutely. If the process is a river carrying you, you don't have to try. You just have to accept the current. It replaces cognitive friction with gentle transport.
And once she's on that gentle current, she arrives at the starting point of the imagined landscape, the path of pale stones.
This serves as the first consistent grounding mechanism within her mental space.
Let's analyze this path. We see this intentional use of reassuring texture and predictable movement. The stones are smooth, pale, cool, and rounded. She imagines her bare feet stepping onto them, feeling the firm, welcoming solidity. Why is that smoothness so important?
Well, roughness or sharpness would trigger alertness. It's a cognitive warning sign. Smoothness signals safety and ease. And the coolness of the stone is also functionally relevant. Imagining slightly cool surfaces can reinforce the body's natural cooling process we discussed earlier. The repeated low-impact sensory input of feet on stones serves as a continuous anchor to the visualization.
It prevents the mind from veering off into chaotic, non-visualization thoughts.
Right, and the path itself dictates the pace. Each step is easy and unhurried. The visualization itself is mandating slowness, forcing compliance with the goal of repose.
So while she is grounded by the earth, she is visually held by the heavens. The environment she creates overhead is designed for profound calm.
The celestial imagery. The sky is wide and open, scattered with stars that shine like tiny lanterns, and none of them are too bright or sharp.
This is the exact opposite of stimulating visual input. This is soft, non-threatening light. The moon is larger than usual, soft and full, spreading a silver mist.
It establishes a pervasive, gentle glow. It ensures the mental landscape is never truly dark or intimidating. The world feels lit from within. It's safety through illumination, but a very passive illumination.
And this beautifully constructed external light is then integrated into her internal state through sensory breathing.
Yes, she breathes the air, which is described as cool and clean, with the faint smell of something green and sweet, like clover after rain.
So the airflow connects the external environment to the internal release of tension. Each breath flows easily, and the more she breathes, the more the last traces of muscular tension loosen.
From her shoulders, her neck, her hands, all those areas that store the day's small, unnoticed efforts.
That's biofeedback fueled by imagination.
It is. By linking a pleasant, imagined external scent and temperature with the physical act of breathing, she leverages the visualization to achieve a physical result.
The profound relaxation and release of held muscular tension.
The mind convinces the body that it is in an environment so safe, it does not need to hold itself ready for action.
Okay, the journey continues. She's deepening her senses as she moves from the open, starlit path into the forest. We're calling this the lullaby of the forest.
And this is the point of maximal immersion, the true threshold of deep mental surrender.
The careful framing of the forest is essential here. The source explicitly states it is not dark or frightening, but welcoming and deep with peace.
Which preemptively disarms any subconscious primal fear associated with woods or darkness. The visualization is actively neutralizing cognitive threats before they can even form.
The trees are tall and old, their leaves forming a soft, rustling roof. And again, the light management continues to be key. Moonlight pours down in scattered beams, forming pale little pools on the ground like quiet, silvery lakes.
The visual effect of these scattered beams creates texture and depth without overwhelming the visual field. It emphasizes a sort of quiet isolation without any stagnation. And notice the forest floor? It's a mossy carpet that presses softly and springs back.
Again, that gentle support and responsiveness. The ground is literally welcoming her weight. She's physically supported even in this imagined space.
Exactly.
The source then goes into this beautiful detail on the details of the unnoticed world, specifically the night-blooming flowers.
And these flowers are not vibrant or attention-grabbing. They're little starry blossoms, bell-shaped blossoms, and rounded blossoms that are described as being half asleep.
That reinforces the behavioral norm of the environment.
It does. Everything in this mental landscape is already in a state of quiet repose. Even the plants around her are validating the state she's seeking.
And this environment generates what the source calls the woven lullaby. It's a synthesis of sounds designed to provide continuous, low-threat sonic companionship.
The sounds are meticulously chosen to be safe and contented. We have the whisper of leaves, the distant barely their hoot of an owl who is not hunting, only watching.
Wait, okay, isn't neutralizing a potential threat like the owl actually counterintuitive? I mean, if the mind has to actively tell itself the owl isn't hunting, isn't that still a cognitive effort? Why even include the owl?
That's an excellent point, and it really speaks to the source's understanding of the subconscious. It's not about introducing a threat. It's about acknowledging a standard primal sound that could potentially be interpreted as a threat.
And then immediately and explicitly neutralizing that interpretation.
Exactly. The small, soft effort of neutralizing the image, only watching, is less taxing than allowing the subconscious to generate some ambiguous threat scenario that would trigger vigilance.
And the tiny creature is also accounted for.
It's hurrying back to its nest for the night.
So all activity is explicitly directed toward rest and safety. It's a continuous, gentle sonic tapestry that guides the listener into deeper peace by removing all ambiguity from the background noise.
Every single element is moving contentedly toward repose, and every detail aligns Mira more deeply with the rhythm of the place, creating a powerful sense of synchronization.
This alignment leads directly to the core mental technique of this phase, the shift in cognition.
Yes, and the source gives us a powerful, concise metaphor for calming the busy mind. Waking thoughts buzzed and bounced, but here they are, much quieter, like snowflakes drifting down through the still air.
This is such a critical psychological distinction for anyone listening. The goal is not to stop thoughts. That's basically impossible and highly stressful.
Right. The goal is to change the behavior and the energy level of the thoughts. Bouncing thoughts are high energy, demanding, disruptive. Drifting snowflakes are low energy, transient, and harmless.
They're separate, soft, and none of them demanding her attention.
It's a transition from linear, verbal, problem-solving thought to abstract, soft, non-judgmental observation. And this low-energy state facilitates the practice of non-attachment.
This is the masterclass moment in acceptance-based relaxation. When a concern or a task rises up, it drifts past as peacefully as a leaf floating down a river. She simply watches it go.
Knowing she does not need to follow it or engage with it.
If you've ever tried standard meditation, you know how hard it is to push thoughts away. You end up fighting them and you just make them louder. Mira's technique flips that.
It does.
For the listener, the practical takeaway is you're not a thought bouncer, you're a river watcher. You acknowledge the thought, label it as transient, and allow the current of the river metaphor to carry it away. It minimizes the cognitive effort required to maintain peace.
And the cumulative result of all this, the deep environmental synchronization, the non-attachment, is a profound time distortion. Time in this place did not tick or march forward the way it did in the waking world.
But instead stretched out like a warm blanket, smooth and uninterrupted.
Time perception is so deeply linked to stress and urgency. When we're stressed, time feels scarce, urgent, rushed. By visualizing a world where time is abundant, smooth, stretching out, she removes the final psychological layer of pressure.
There is infinite smooth time to simply be in the process of resting. The pressure to fall asleep now is just gone. We followed Mira through the structured, safe environment and into the deep forest immersion where her thoughts become soft snowflakes. Now we move to Section 5, final integration and release.
This is the ultimate arrival of the state of surrender, and it begins with the clearing and the pool of reflection.
The destination is structurally safe. A small clearing at the heart of the forest, described as a natural hollow that looked like a cupped hand.
That imagery immediately reinforces the theme of being held, of being safe and entirely contained. It removes any fear of falling or exposure.
And the central element is this pool of reflection. The water is so still it's made of glass. It reflects not just the sky, but the soft, sleepy reflection of her own face.
This is the definitive moment of feedback. By seeing her own soft, sleepy reflection, surrounded by the quiet light of the visualization, she receives immediate visual confirmation that she has achieved the intended state.
It internalizes the visual image of rest.
Completing a powerful psychological feedback loop.
And when she touches the water, the source notes the delicate response, circling ripples that move outward and back until they are almost invisible.
So the environment is responsive, but its natural state is stillness. The water returns to its mirror-like quality very quickly. This demonstrates that any temporary cognitive interruption, the touch, the small ripple, is immediately absorbed and neutralized by the baseline calm of the visualization.
And the water feels cool but not cold.
Like a reassuring hand placed on a fevered brow. Calming, stabilizing, non-shocking.
And this stillness holds the deepest conceptual insight of the entire source. the quiet that belongs to fullness.
Yes. The pool holds the calm and restfulness of the forest, a quiet that belongs not to emptiness but to fullness, like a silence full of unsaid, loving words.
If we connect this to the broader context of relaxation philosophy, that's a profound statement.
It really is. We often pursue rest by trying to create emptiness, the absence of noise, the absence of thought. Mira's rest is the integrated calm of fullness.
All the positive, quiet, supporting elements of the journey synthesized into one reflective surface.
It's a silence that is rich with meaning, acceptance, and support, not a void that's just waiting to be filled by anxiety.
This integrated calm provides the foundation for the ultimate resting place. A low, moss-covered hill shaped like a reclining figure.
This is the final physical anchor. The hill molds itself gently to the shape of her back, the curve of her shoulders, the length of her legs, offering a slow, wordless embrace.
This imagery serves a very specific neurological purpose, doesn't it? It removes the final remaining effort required to maintain posture or comfort.
Or even minor muscular stability. The earth is actively, lovingly supporting her final descent into sleep.
As she settles into that final supportive embrace, the cognitive activity that remains is the lowest effort task yet, tracing patterns.
She traces soft arrangements of stars, not strict constellations, but suggestive, gentle shapes. A sleeping cat curled around its tail, a boat rocking, a lantern swinging.
Notice how these are all images associated with passive movement and safety. They're designed to occupy the visual part of the mind just enough to keep it from spinning out into executive functions.
Planning, analyzing, worrying. They're entirely nonlinear and demand zero analytical effort. It's imaginative play that encourages passivity, moving the mind further away from the prefrontal cortex and deeper into the non-judgmental realm of imagination.
And the physical benefit of this low-effort visual focus is immediate: the eyelid release. As she traces these shapes, the muscles around her eyes release one by one until each blink lingered a little longer than the one before.
The ocular muscles are frequently the last physical structures to fully relax. They often hold onto tension related to vigilance. By providing a soft, predictive, and safe visual task tracing the stars, she provides a pathway for those ocular muscles to disengage.
The physical act of blinking becomes heavier and slower.
The final physiological step toward unconsciousness.
This leads us to the absolute core image of the final surrender, the inward rocking and final surrender. She feels she is at the center of a soft, immense, invisible cradle.
This is a brilliant metaphor for progressive neurological slowing. And what's fascinating is the directionality of the rocking.
Right. It rocks almost imperceptibly, not side to side, which can imply instability or even motion sickness.
But inward, deeper and deeper into new layers of rest. This signifies the mind and body moving from beta to alpha, then theta, then delta brainwave states. It's a gentle directional descent into profound restorative sleep.
And her breathing as integration syncs perfectly with this descent. Her quiet breathing matches the forest rhythm, the leaves swaying, the water murmuring.
Making it feel not like something separate from the world around her, but like part of the same continuous steady rhythm. The boundary between self and environment is completely dissolved,
Her biological function is now synchronized with the contented rhythm of the entire world.
reinforcing the safety and acceptance of her state. She is literally breathing in time with the resting earth.
And the final stage is thought to image. The source notes that thoughts cease to be words. They become soft-colored images. A white wooden boat gliding, a feather drifting down in slow circles.
This transition is so significant. Words require cognitive effort and linear structure. They demand frontal lobe engagement. Images are ephemeral, abstract, and sensory-based.
This shift signals the mind crossing the threshold into the pre-dream state.
Where sequential logical thought is replaced by fluid sensory input. Each image brings a wave of ease, a final smoothing out of any lingering cognitive tension before sleep takes over.
And finally, we have the blurring of realities. The source notes that the genuine sounds from the house and town, the quiet hum of night insects, a distant car, they mingle with the imagined forest sounds.
Creating a single tender hush.
The critical mind has disengaged. It's no longer distinguishing between the real and the imagined.
All auditory input is processed as non-threatening continuous background noise, that single tender hush. This allows the ultimate self-soothing message to be absorbed without question. Rest now, everything is all right, you have done enough for today.
That is the ultimate release, the effortless arrival. She lets her thoughts drift even further, like a boat slipping away from the shore, held up without effort.
Arriving in sleep, without needing to try, without needing to push away a single thought or feeling. That phrase, without needing to try, that's the core synthesis of the entire case study.
It is.
Effortless rest is achieved not by fighting thoughts or darkness, but by building a gentle environment and a metaphorical vehicle, the river, the path, the cradle, that makes the descent into sleep the absolute path of least resistance. It's the ultimate delegation of control. So to synthesize this deep dive for you, the learner, what we found is a clear, functional blueprint disguised as poetry. The entire Mira method hinges on a structured, layered transition.
And this transition systematically uses vivid but soft sensory input. The precise temperature, the dynamic candlelight, the mossy texture.
The gentle, non-threatening sounds. All of it is designed to fully disarm the critical, analytical mind and eliminate the need for cognitive effort.
Absolutely. This provides a detailed roadmap that emphasizes gentle movement away from daily tasks, the floating on the river, the walking on the path, rather than simply lying still and demanding your mind shut off.
It's a proactive process of acceptance and gentle migration into a personalized, non-anxious mental space that actively supports your body's need for rest.
It's an act of deep self-care and structural preparation.
And that leads us back to that final observation Mira made by the pool, which really defines the state of true rest. The source describes the still pool as holding a quiet that belonged not to emptiness, but to fullness, like a silence full of unsaid, loving words.
So what does this all mean for you tonight as you wrap up your day and seek that total surrender? If the deepest rest is not the absence of thought, but the fullness of integrated quiet focus, that deep feeling of being contained and supported, what is one full silence you can seek out tonight?
Is it the sound of your own quiet, steady breathing? The gentle, predictable humming of the night outside your optimized window?
Or maybe the space you create between the tasks on your mind? Consider the distinction between quietness and stillness, and let the fullness of that integrated calm hold you as you drift away.